Many leaders would like to improve their workplace culture, but they just don't know how. Maybe you're one of them. In this video, I will share 5 steps that you can take to change your workplace culture. These steps are sequential, so make sure you stick around until the end. I'm Esty, and before we dive into the 5 steps, let's have a quick look at what culture is. Many people think that workplaces have a good culture if they've got regular social events, give employees free lunches, and have foosball tournaments. The problem is that these events won't create a good culture. Culture actually refers to the way in which the people in the organization behave, the way they conduct themselves, the way decisions are made, and the way that they interact with each other. All the pizza parties in the world won't create a good culture if the leader in the organization disrespects people. Cultures are formed by encouraging, discouraging, and tolerating behaviors. For example, if sharing ideas is encouraged, more people will share ideas with each other. If laughing and making jokes in the open plan office area are discouraged, less people will laugh and make jokes in the open plan office area. If tardiness and rudeness is tolerated, more people will be late for meetings and will be rude to each other. Many people believe cultures are created organically and therefore they cannot be changed. This points to a lack of understanding of what culture really is. If culture is created by encouraging, discouraging, and tolerating behaviors, then we can change culture by encouraging, discouraging, and tolerating different behaviors. How do we do that? Let's dive into the 5 steps. Step 1. You will have to be real about your current culture. You will have to be really honest with yourself. What are the behaviors that most people in our organization display? Are they friendly? Do they stand up for each other? Do they innovate? Or do they complain? Do they put the customer's needs first? You can also evaluate the current culture by talking to others. Every person will have a different view or perspective about what the organization's culture is, and their perspective is true for them. Ask people how they feel when they come to work on Monday mornings. Ask them whether they like their colleagues. Ask them if they feel respected. Ask them if they know that their manager will have their back if they make a mistake. Ask what they most like about the workplace, and also ask what they would change. Step 2 gets a little analytical. If we don't understand why our culture is the way that it is, we won't be able to change it. If there are managers or senior leaders that are pushing their own agendas or mistreating employees, you will never be able to improve your culture until you deal with it. If people are afraid to give their opinions, why are they afraid? Who is going after them? If people are not treating your customers right, is it because there's maybe too much focus being placed on closing tickets or making money? Evaluating how your current culture is being perpetuated will help you to understand where to begin to change. Once you understand what your current culture is and why it exists, we're moving on to step 3. Deciding what your culture should be and what you want it to be. Your desired culture will have to align with 3 things in order to be effective. First, it has to align with your personal values. In order to maintain a new culture, you will have to behave authentically in alignment with your desired culture. You cannot do this if you're trying to create a culture that you don't personally believe in. The second thing that must go into your desired culture is an alignment with your strategy. Your culture will have to enable your strategy. If your strategy calls for innovation, you will need a culture that promotes sharing ideas, trying new things, and accepting the possibility of failure. If your strategy calls for customer centricity, your culture should include empathy, good communication, and must give frontline workers the authority to do what's best for the customer. This is a very difficult step in the process, but one that can make a significant impact to your ability to deliver on your strategy. I've created a course that goes into much more detail on how to align your culture to your strategy, and that will help you to go through these 5 steps. More about that course in a little bit. If you're finding this information helpful so far, please give this video a like and type in "Yay culture" in the comments. The last thing you must consider for your desired culture is employee well-being practices. Companies need people in order to achieve their goals and fulfill their purpose. You want your employees to be loyal, resilient, and working at their best. To achieve that, employees need to feel cared for and respected. Changing workplace conditions to foster employee well-being will not only improve employee health, but will also improve job performance, productivity, and lower levels of employee burnout. This will also lead to less resignations, less quiet quitting, and less loud quitting. Now that we have a description of your current culture and a description of your desired culture, in step 4, we can compare the two cultures and identify the differences. What are the gaps? What will you have to change in order to move from your current culture to your desired culture? What actions can you take to get you there? This is the time to start gathering support and buy-in from your leadership team and to put an action plan together to take you from your current culture to your desired culture. What behaviors do you want to encourage and how will you best encourage them? What will you no longer tolerate? Put together a list of actions that will best encourage the behaviors you want to see in your desired culture. Assign accountabilities and assign due dates. All that is left in step 5 is to execute on your action plan and monitor the change. You will have to decide on metrics and measures that will show you how far you've come and how close you are to the culture you want to create. If you want a customer-centric culture, these will be your customer experience scores, like Net Promoter Score, Customer Satisfaction Score, and Customer Effort Score. If you want to create an innovation culture, this will be the number of ideas that you've raised or the number of ideas that make it through the innovation funnel to execution. Monitor the metrics to see whether your action plan is working and adjust it as required. Culture is a very complicated concept. It involves personalities of employees, their desires, their histories, their unresolved traumas, and their hopes. It also involves group dynamics like politics and social identities. There's no silver bullet that will solve all of your cultural problems. But we can start somewhere. If you are looking for a very practical way to get started on improving your organization's culture, check out my Culture Blueprint course. This course will give you an in-depth, step-by-step, 100% practical blueprint for getting started with culture. We'll start by evaluating your culture, understanding how it was formed, and how it's being perpetuated. Then I'll help you craft the desired culture that will enable your strategy and will be sustainable for you and your employees. We will put together an action plan, a communication plan, decide on metrics and measures, and put together progress dashboards. If you want to get started with culture today, this is the course for you. I hope to see you all there soon.